Right, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the workshop and to another episode about the Barnfind GTV. Today I'm going to do something that I'm going to start on something that I've been putting off for quite a while, and that is building a rotisserie for that car, because having it stripped down to a bare shell sitting on the lift, it's pretty impractical. Now, somebody who I really, really admire enormously is Rod Emery, and if you follow him on Instagram, you'll know he's super talented, and he works really hard, and he has this really cool rotisserie design that he does the Porsche 356s on, and I'm going to do something that's kind of similar, very much inspired by that design, and I think it's going to be quite a lot of work to get that right. I haven't really worked out the measurements and how I'm going to sort out the center of gravity in it to get it to roll properly, but I'm going to figure that out as I go along. Anyway, this morning I ordered steel for it, and it should be ready for me to collect it now, and that just means I've got to fit some roof racks to my workhorse car, which is my sometimes reliable Giulia 1300 Ti. It's actually not running that well. It's losing compression in one cylinder. You can hear it when you start it, but it seems to always get me where I need to go. Anyway, let's put some roof racks on this thing, and then we'll head out to the city and get some steel. Right, so I've now got most of the steel kind of cut into the shape and the lengths that I kind of needed, and I've done some welding on a little bit of the stuff with the hoops. So these should go together something like that. I don't know. To be honest, I'm not the greatest at this kind of stuff, so I've made some space at the back of the workshop. I'm going to move all this over there and start tacking the hoops together. Right, and we'll see how it goes. I hope this works out. I've never built anything like this before. I've just done really rudimentary stuff. My welding's not great. Anyway. Right, so it's getting kind of late. I've gotten a little bit done. I've got the hoops done, and I didn't anticipate that the hoops would end up this big. I suppose it's not the worst problem, but it does mean that when these are attached, I can't roll it out under this door. It's not going to fit. So I might have some more thoughts about that a bit later. There's another hoop at the back of the workshop. It's all done. I'm getting into the legs that attach to the car, and I've got quite a lot more to do on this tomorrow, but I'm going to pick this up in the morning, and hopefully it shouldn't take too long to finish up. I just need to work out how to put wheels on the bottom of this thing, and I think I'm going to make the hoops detachable so I can just use this as a normal kind of car trolley, and then when I need to attach the hoops and roll it over. Anyway, it's about 10 o'clock. I'm a bit tired and I'm going to pick this up in the morning. So I've got just about everything cut to size. My immediate plan is to finish these like little sub braces that the car is just going to sit on these legs with some wheels on them. And then the hoops, these big hoops will bolt to that, so they'll be removable. So when the car is in the workshop and I'm doing assembly and stuff like that, it's not this huge, great big contraption, but when I need to flip it on its side to do sandblasting or painting or anything on the underside, the hoop is there. So I'm going to get around to welding all of this stuff up. Everything's coming along pretty nicely. I have wheels on the basic trolley. One of the cross beams, I suppose, that connects the front and the rear. It's basically just a little bit of bar with some 5mm plate on the end, and then I drilled holes through here to connect them. And that's one side done. Got to do the other. So I put these on the end of this piece of bar. But first I'm going to drill some holes in this here to these to go in. I think I've already marked them. I've already put some little white dots where I have to drill in. So drill some holes, weld this up, and then the basic trolley frame will actually be done. So this has been the result of a couple of really late nights and early mornings in the workshop. Yeah, this frame took a long time to build. It really was it was a huge amount of work actually, but I think in the future it's going to save me a lot of time and effort. All of the frames that I had up until this point, like the really basic ones that I built up just to move cars around, were, you can flip them on their side, but it takes a couple people to do that. And this octagonal shape should allow just one person to roll it over. Yeah, I gave myself like a couple days to do this between other projects, and it's taken quite a long time. But I'm pretty happy with the result. I'm not 100% done with it yet. I've got a few things that I want to do, like I want to add wheels here, and there. So while it's on its side, I can move it around more easily, as it is when it has wheels in the bottom. So maybe sometime next week I'll go and get some extra little Alfa wheels and modify it. Yeah, so this was a ton of measuring and cutting and welding and drilling holes and all that kind of stuff. And it was good welding practice, I'll be honest. I enjoyed that. It wobbles slightly, but I think this is going to be pretty strong and nothing's going to go wrong with it. Yeah, anyway, this has been a long thing. But let's take a closer look at how this thing's mounted up, and then I'll flip it over and you can see how it looks from the side. Right, so this entire frame is mounted up onto the bolt holes that hold the steering box and the idler arm on. And on the back they go onto the trunnion bar mounting holes. And then this little trolley that kind of stands on its own mounts onto that, and then the rollover hoops are bolted onto that, and then I'll have some little structural beams that hook up to it. And of course then they are themselves braced as well. 2 on the sides and 1 on the top. Overall, I think this is a pretty neat solution. I think if I was going to give some advice to somebody building one of these, I would say do it 75% scale of what I did. It doesn't have to be this big. Although, now I can say that it definitely has enough space for the Julia when it comes time to do that. Yeah, it is a really, really big frame, and one of the problems I have, which is going to require further modification, is that it's not going to go under the workshop door. So either I'll have to take the hoops off and then put them back on outside, or make the top of the hoops removable. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do yet. But either way, for now, I'm pretty happy with it. I tested it once this morning, rolling it over, just with one person. So I'm going to give that another go now. Right, so there we have it, the GTV on its side. Yeah, I definitely want to put some wheels on the side so I can move it around while it's like this, but this is going to give me so much space for working. Like, yeah, being able to cut out all this metal here and weld and do panel beating down here with it on its side like this, it's going to be so much easier. And this just gives me complete access to the floors, to the whole underside of the car. There's no way that you could do top quality work with a car like this sitting on its wheels or just on a lift. Having it on its side like this is really, really useful. Right. So, that's this week's arts and crafts project done. I mean, I put a ton of hours into this frame, but now that I've got it, it's going to be such a great thing to have around the workshop. It does take up a bit of space, but obviously I can take the hoops off and it takes up no space at all, and it gives me something to move cars around with. And it will fit any 105 because I can just modify these the braces that run along front to back. I can just change them and make them longer to fit a Giulia or shorter to fit a coupe. So I would definitely say this is a really cool asset to have around the workshop, and it was definitely worth the couple of days that it took to put this thing together and all that welding and cutting and drilling holes. Anyway, right, now that this is done, we can get on to more interesting things, which means actually building cars. I hope you found this helpful. If you want to put something together like this, it's really not that difficult. If you know how to work a MIG welder with like a reasonable degree of proficiency, then you should be fine. I mean, I'm not that great of a welder, and this wasn't that much of a challenge for me. It doesn't have to be this big, obviously. Your car won't sit as high if it's on a smaller thing, but it would be just as practical. Maybe scale it to like 75% or 80%. So do like each side of the octagon in like 75 centimeters or something. But I'm pretty happy with it, and it's going to make the build of this car go a lot smoother, I think. Well, I know it's going to be a lot smoother. And it's going to help out with the Giulia and the 64 as well, so it was all worth it. but it's been a hell of a lot of work. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.